Hello, welcome back, guys. Welcome to episode 13 of Mom Can You Not? And I have my wonderful co-host, Mama.
I've always wanted to do that. Oh, you never like me.
Yeah.
How are you guys? How have you been? We've been
Consistent girlies.
consistent girlies.
Yeah.
So now today I decided to bless you with them banner.
Yes.
What do you think? Because I was a bit of summer. It's giving cheetah.
And I've blessed you with my flower. Mum made my outfit. All the outfits that you see me wearing, like all of them, Mum's made them. Because I only wear Neanderthal. Don't wear anything else.
No crochet scan. You know, we when we started doing this post mid-season, we always came with topics to talk about. Then I just go off on a tangent and I end up just chatting, you know. But I think the way we are doing it is the way, you know, we do it Pamasendra. You know, when you're just sitting, you go there wanting to buy bread and there's no bread and you end up talking about nonsense the whole day, you know.
This time we're going to chat. This is what the first episode was supposed to be about, but we still haven't made it to that yet. So we're going to stay on track today. There's no public service announcements, is there?
No, we don't have. The only public service announcement I just have is to say thank you very much. We still want to do the Bonfofo events, the one in Zim and the one here. And so if you were there for episode 10, we're talking about wanting to meet up. So if there's 10 of you interested, there will be a link in Coco's bio where you can just go and register interest. We're not looking for it to be a big, massive event. If it becomes that, then praise the Lord. But we're just looking for a few people just to hang Shamama records. That's all.
Just like what we were talking about in the last episode about building community in real life.
Yes.
Like the good old days.
Like the good old days, you know, because communities are very important. It's good for our mental health. It's good for our well-being. We are too cooped in front of our, you know, my phone. Telephones. And we are forgetting how it is like to interact with people. And I'm so happy that some of you can know wherever you've seen me, whether I'm in my work regalia. I actually had a girlie who, you know yourself, Bonfofo family, you saw me per our work portals and you came and you said hi. I love that.
I bumped into a girlie, Granby Street, like near Munya's. Yeah, actually, I think I was coming from seeing Munya. I was going to see Munya. And then just as I'm crossing over where Tesco is, this girlie came up to me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I watched you guys' podcast."
Yeah. And I even met one of you, you know, jogging in the villages doing, you know, your care work, and you're like, I know you, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's nice. I like that because, you know, part of being part of this community is about recognizing each other. When I see people I know, I always try to make an effort because, you know, kufa kwakauya, life is too stressful. Nyika yakwini yangozara nhamo chete nemanapi. So once in a while, you just want to forget about that and just be in a space which is protected, because I love protected spaces, and just enjoy yourself.
Okay. So what are we talking about this week, Mom?
What are we talking about? I've forgotten.
We're supposed to talk about the airport.
Oh, yeah. Oh, guys. I've been dying to tell you my airport stories, right?
And tell the full story, Mom. Thank you.
Right. You know, when she says tell the full story, she is the hero in the story. You know, when she tell the full story, she wants
tell the full story.
She wants the world to know how she foresaw a situation and she wasn't listened to. Okay, so but you know, guys, I am a Zimbabwean. I don't like being called Zimbabwean auntie, but I am an auntie at heart. I pack like an auntie. When I'm going anywhere, I make sure that I pack to the last toothpick. I will carry, you know, to the extent that sometimes
you could pack these sofas.
If I could pack all the sofas, ironing boards, my pads, I would, because that's what I do. And you know, because the thing is, I get very anxious that if I then I'm wherever I'm going, I don't have one particular thing. I'll be like, but I left it. I should have just carried it. So because of that, I pack. So when I'm going to Zimbabwe, it's even worse, guys. When I'm going to Zimbabwe, I normally, what I will do is I will pack everything, the kitchen sink, the toilet, everything into my suitcases. I'll start doing this little thing where I will weigh it, a bit higher to see if it's still within the 23 kilograms, or I will pretend that, it's going to shrink in the name of Jesus when I'm by the airport. Even if I know, because some of them I'll just feel them that this is like 40 kgs, but I will carry them anyway. I will make sure. So anyway, on this particular day, it was like round about this time when it's getting really warm, isn't it? She's always saying to me, Mom, please, when you're going places, don't overpack, right? You don't need the majority of these things. You're still going to bring them back. Why do you carry this much? And I'll be like, DC, there's my big and I've not asked you to carry these bags for me. DC, Mom, why do you carry so much? So that's, because I've got a scale at home, I'll start measuring them diagonally by the side, Nedumbu, Nemsan. I just want him to see if the kgs will go down. So on this particular day,
I surrounded by people in narrow.
So on this particular day, I was like, this is on my way going to Zim. So I packed my bags as usual, and I thought, you know what, I want to make sure that I'm traveling with. I might even wear the heavy coats on me.
I think you were saying that in Zim at this time it was cold or something.
Yeah.
Because it's hot in October, isn't it? Yeah, that was just so you bought your coats because that's why. Yeah.
So but I was thinking, right. So, and also my thinking is sometimes when I go through the check-in out, because my bags are already heavy, right? So I'll take some of the coats and I'll wear them, right? So I'll layer them on me so that, to do my maths with the kgs because I want to carry everything.
So you wear all the coats.
So I wore all my coats on me, right? So obviously somebody within the airport security looked at me and they were like, nah.
Did you tell them what you're wearing underneath?
Right, because I was going to wear, you really want me to tell this story in its full glory. I don't know why today is about naming and shaming. Okay, because I was going to wear a very, like 4 or 5 heavy coats. I decided not to wear anything underneath, so I just had the bra and panties. Are you happy? They were long coats, right? So I wasn't, being inappropriate or anything. So when I get to where you're supposed to go through, that X-ray thing, they said to me, take off your coats. So I took off, they said, take off your coats. So I took off all my coats and I put them, to go through the scanning thing. But I wouldn't take off the last one. So this guy's like, can you take off your coat? And I said, I don't have anything underneath. Then he's like, okay. So I go through and obviously now I'm becoming suspicious, isn't it? So they said to me, when I'd gone through, they said, can you stand by the side? So I stand by the side. They're now doing everything to my other 10 coats that I had, layered on there, doing. So they give me all my bags and they say to me, can you go into this private room? So I'm working with these 2 security people. As you do, and I'm walking, I get in there, they take off my last coat, so I'm now one Adam Chaicha as I came in my birthday suit, and now they ask me to bend over and cough.
Have you guys ever watched that show? What's that show about the people in the airport?
Nothing to do.
Nothing to do. What's I thought you were smuggling drugs.
So I'm going, and they go, okay. And then they turn me around. They ask me to take off my bra. I've never gone through anything that's humiliating. And this woman is wearing gloves, right? So I take off my bra and she lifts, my right boobie and she goes, and she does it with this little thing that they have. And then they do the same. And now, at this point, I'm still wearing my wig. You know how weird is that? You're naked everywhere, you're wearing your wig. So they asked me to take off my wig. If it wasn't that, if I was worried that at any point you have those anti teas. I don't want to say the word. Because I said, nah, I'm not doing it. But then I was like, there's no need for me to be quit at Nairobi airport, when there's all these people with the guns. Because there was just these people were just hovering around as usual with their guns outside. And so I took off my wig. My hair was like this underneath. And then they take my wig and they go with it. I don't know what they do, They really thought I dragged on me.
My days.
So at this point, I've got hair like this, right? My wig has been taken. They give me back my wig. They say they didn't find anything. They give me back my coat to wear with my brine panties as I was doing, and I get all my coats that they'd taken and I wear them again, my layers in it, because I didn't want to lose anything. So I go to the feeling humiliated, downtrodden, and downcast because I was surrounded by a bunch of women, surround me in my room doing things, because the other one, honestly, I swear, they held my boob by its titty and did this. And that's how it felt. I felt so exposed, right? But if you do if you do the crime, you pay the time, isn't it? I took my coats, went with them, because obviously now they've been searched. I layered them again. I go.
Can't if you play stupid games, you waste stupid places.
So I go. So now at this point, I'm so traumatized, right? So I'm thinking, I can't just fly without telling my daughter that I've been. So she goes, because this decision was made when I was in the bus to go to Heathrow. I left fully clothed, guys. So when I got to the airport toilet, that's when I thought, what?
I haven't got an airport outfit.
I had an airport outfit, but I took it off. It was the nice tracksuit. I took it all off so that I could make room for these coats. There was a method in my madness, but it's just that the other people didn't catch on. So she's going, what do you mean you're stripped naked? What were you wearing? So at this point, I can't lie. I was like, I was wearing, that Marks and Spencer jacket. And the other 3 coats, the ones that I'm taking so I was wearing 4 coats and the jacket. So were you not wearing the tracksuit I bought? I was like, well, what happened was when I realized that I was over, I decided to take out the coats and wear them, but I couldn't wear them with the tracksuit because I would be boiling. So she was like, so what were you wearing underneath? I was like, a bra and panties. She didn't sympathize. She was like, Mom, I've been telling you about this over. I said, no, I didn't call you for a lecture. I was just telling you that, as your mother, I've been violated, I've been touched, everywhere. And they even asked me to bend over and cough. That's how bad things. And you know what? You should have seen me walking down. Now I had my head on the side, walking very slowly. And I felt I've never been that very. There were 2 of them.
Oh my days.
2 of these women. And
have
they were
you
not
learned
playing.
your lesson, Mom?
Oh no, I haven't. That lesson I'm never going to learn because there was no lesson to learn. Then it's just that they need to understand. They need to catch on. It's a cultural thing. That's how we pack.
Oh my days.
That's how we pack.
I pack with nothing. I'll carry the smallest bag, like a little handbag, will have all my belongings. And I don't even need anything.
You're saying that. So now this is mine in Australia. This was regional flights, right? So this has happened to me. You'd think I would have learned at this point. And the other thing also is because I don't like losing my stuff, right? I would rather know where all my bags are. So there was quite a few of us traveling because that's when I was on tour with Babara. So we had quite a few people. There were some people were traveling light who were happy to help me with my bags. But, me being me, I was like, I got this because I wanted all my bags with me. So now, then obviously we were above limit. So obviously I haven't learned from my experience. I was like, this is the UK. You know what? UK people are a bit crazy. So at this point I said to Bara, you need to wear some of the coats and I'll wear some of them. So because the thing with Australia, some parts of it are cold, some of it are warm, so you just don't know what's going on.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
Right. So we could have tagged. So I said, let's take all. You wear some of the coats, I'll wear some of the coats, and then we put our bags for check-in. And said, okay. He wasn't going to argue with me, was he? So he wore like four coats. He's tall as well, and I wore like 4, right?
They must think you look really mad.
So at this point, right? So wearing our coats, we've sent our bags, right? So we're sat there. This is like we were in Perth. So Perth is boiling, but where we're going was going to be cool. So our flight gets delayed. At this point now we're drift sweat. I've done what I always do. My central cooling system where I take off everything. I'm just leaving my clothes. So Ray is like, you know what? I'm taking this coat off. I can't take this because it's too warm. So he's taking them off. So I'm not. He's piling them on me. I can't take off my clothes because I've got nothing underneath. So I'm sat there and I'm drip sweating, fam. So this guy now the airport police come with their dogs to where I'm sitting.
Because you're sweating, they probably thought that you put
So
drugs
like,
up
are
your
you okay?
orifices.
I said, yeah, I'm fine. Just you know, they're speaking with their Australian accent. You look a bit warm in. I said, no, I'm cold. So are you okay? Because you're sweating. So why do you keep on asking me if I'm okay? I'm fine, right? And you cannot be rude to immigration or people, guys. Don't ever do that. So they now
unless if you want to end up in prison.
So anyway, now I'm like, now the plane has arrived. Now I'm saying to my accomplice where the coat is like, I want to go to Zimbabwe in one piece. You need to find, because now our bags are gone. I've got 8 coats on me. I've got 4 that I'm wearing. And no one is offering to wear some of these coats. I'm giving them to everyone. No one wants to wear them. So I'm getting really annoyed. So I take my coat, the biggest coat, and I put the other coats in and I make like a big pillow. So I'm carrying it on the... So I'm wearing 4 and I've got 4 that look like a pillow that I'm carrying like a human being I'm trying to smuggle in. So we're trying to get in there. I'm flagged, isn't it? They made me go to the other side. I said, right, here we go. I said, I'm so sorry, nipples. I know what they're going to do to us. So we go there. They start and said, why do you have so many coats? I said, I came from the UK. It was cold.
Yeah.
And, you know, they couldn't fit in our bag. So I thought I would carry them and make one into a pillow. So, okay. Can you take off your coat so that we can say? She said, I don't have anything underneath. Okay, so I take off everything. They asked me to bend over and cough again.
Well, you never lied.
And now they do. Now I'm used to the routine. I said, do you want my bra off? They say, yeah, sure. And then they lift my boobies by my nipples and they do whatever they do. Take my coats, right? So you see, now I'm angry because now no one is helping with my coats. We get to, because obviously, because our first plane was delayed. There was now a big delay. Now we're in the cold area, right? You know,
don't you dare ask me for my coats.
So we are now, we've moved. Now we are in, I think we're now in Melbourne, and Melbourne is freezing, right? So I now have got my 4 coats. So this is me with my coats now. This was me. Let me take this. So this was me with my coats. So I was putting one on here, the other one on here, and the other one on here, and I was wearing the other 4. So now, Brave is pacing, right? Brave is pacing, and it's cold. I said, I know. You know, I've got my coats with me here. I'm not even feeling. I'm feeling a bit warm. Then he goes, can I have one? I said, no. I said, like, you know, when
I came here on my own. So when we got here on my own, you know, the plane, I will win on my own.
So we get onto this plane. When we got onto the plane, it was so tiny. It was like a little helicopter, right? And with the turbulence, this is me with my coats like this, fighting for my life and my coats. No one is helping me with them. And you know, I was sat next to Matthias, right? So he was like, oh, you know, your coats are not giving me space to. So I'm doing this with my coats, right? I'm doing this. I'm trying to, you know, hold on to my coats for dear life. We get, as soon as we get into Melbourne, is you know, that little, and people are wearing vests and whatever, and they put their coats in there. I had 8 coats on me, so I could easily give every one of them a coat. I wasn't going to do that, and I was waiting for the person who would come to me and ask. I'd been searched, I'd been violated
to get these coats.
So now who, where, how? So I get.
Is that who's gonna check people?
And you know, there was like an 8-hour wait when because we'd missed that plane, so it made the whole travel itinerary ridiculous. So the promoters going, I'm sorry guys, you know, we might try and find a hotel, but I don't think if we go off the airport, we will have the same situation of the plane, so we'll stay here. We'll get you some coffees and some warm drinks. I was like, can you get me something a bit cool because I'm boiling? because I was wearing a mink found and I had another coat on top of the mink. So I was looking like a sumo wrestler, but I had my other coats there. And and then Martha's like, you know what? I shouldn't have pegged my coat because Zimbabwe, in a Zimbabwean weather, we've not acclimatized. I said, I came from the UK, I'm acclimatized, but what can we do? I didn't give anyone my coat. I did not.
Oh my God.
Because I said, you surrendered. I said, I can't give you my coat because you remember, you said, you don't want to get into trouble with immigration. You're on your own. You gave me this coat. Now you're coming because you want a coat from me. No. I was searched. My nipples were raised up in the air, and they did all this to me to save these coats because I could have abandoned them, but I didn't. So I'll hold on to them. I think the only person I offered a coat was Falls.
Oh my God.
Everybody else I didn't. So that's my airport stories.
So at least in the second one you are vindicated. So this is why you pack like this, just in case.
And that particular, I was a queen for the 8 hours because you could see people going, and I was just going, and I would exchange. I would sometimes take the mink out. Like when I want to go out, to get like hot drinks, I would wear the waterproof jacket and I would carry the other ones. When I got a bit tired of sitting, because it was 8 hours, I would use my pillow that I'd made of those jackets to lie on. And when it got like that, I would put it like a V pillow behind me and I would be like this, and yeah. So I could have called, right? That was the other time. The other time, me and my airport stories. So I was saying, my relationship with airports has been always a very difficult one. I've never had, well, I don't want to put it into existence because I want to travel, but I've always had,
a situation.
Snarly situation. And sometimes it's things that I've been told not to do, but I'll do anyway. But on this particular situation, so our benefactor, my ex-husband's aunt, would say, I want you guys to come to the UK. So Namo in Zimbabwe was Namoing at that particular time.
Guys, watch episode 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Right at the back for more context.
So Namo was Namoing, and so at this point he says to me, you're coming, but I didn't have a passport, and I daren't tell this woman that I don't have a passport in case I miss my opportunity. So I said, yeah, we've got passports, everything is sorted. I was lying. So then she says the tickets I think the tickets had not been bought, but she was going to send us the money to buy tickets that particular month. And in Zim, getting things like passports is not the most easy thing. So we had to do all sorts of skibbling to get these passports. Eventually we got the passports. So I get this passport. So obviously they are gold dust. You don't want to lose them. You've been through, high hill and water. So I went. The only person I could trust with important documents like that was my dad. So I took them to my dad's house for my dad to take care of these passports. My life is full of drama. You'd think, these things, they don't even happen the way I would have intended them to happen. So anyway, so my dad, when I gave my dad the passports, he was seeing another woman at this particular time. So I don't know, long story short, when I went to now we are saying we're traveling on Monday. Yeah, on Monday. So I go to my dad's house on Saturday to go and collect the passports. So he can't find the passports. He's like, I cannot find them. I'm like, you're kidding.
You're joking, man.
Dad, you must be. This is not funny.
You're out in a bubble.
I was like, honestly, memory, I can't find them. I said, what do you mean you can't find them? And he was like, maybe I left them at that. So we drove to this woman's house. And she was like, oh no, you didn't come with them here. So I was like, so where could they have gone? So we go back. At this point, in my heart of hearts, I knew that my stepmom had taken them. So I said to my dad, you need to ask your wife nicely if she's got the passports. And, I need those passports because I'm traveling on Monday. So we get there. She was a big woman, like big, like she was tall and... So we get there. My dad is like, have you seen an envelope which was sealed? There were some documents in there. And she was like, no, I didn't see it. And she was like, there's no other place that I would have left those. I've looked everywhere. I know that they were in this house. You could probably have just thought it's some documents. You could have put them somewhere safely. She goes, oh no, I haven't seen them. So my stepbrother, who was like Jojo's age and very loud. Like, oh no, mom, you've seen them. It's that envelope you're saying that you don't want Dad to ever find it.
Yeah, that sounds like Jojo.
So at this point, I'm like, I was not, bear in mind when all this conversation, they're having this back and forth, I'm literally sat there saying, or not even saying a word. So I said also, so where did she put them? Asking my stepbrother. Because, she had them, mom had them. So at this point, I said, so my dad is asking, he's getting to a point where he's no longer accusatory. He's just literally,
give me the
passports. And he's like, I don't have the passport. I don't have anything. I don't know what he's talking about. So, and anyway, I want to go to sleep. It's getting late. And then at this point, I was like, no, no one is going to sleep until these passports come out. He just, what are you going to do to me? I said, no one is going to sleep. We are going to sit until these passports magic themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So, my dad was such
stoic,
even tempered person. He never raised his voice, never got angry with anyone. You get frustrated. You could tell he's frustrated. At that point, I could tell he was frustrated. So when she then said she was tired and she was going to sleep, I could see that my dad was angry. So I was fuming at this point. So I lunged onto her and I said, no, you're not going to sleep until you bring out these passports. So she turns around, because she's a big woman. She turns around and she wants to fight me. And the frustration of the Namo in Zimbabwe, and
you can see your dream.
And I'm just thinking, if this woman is bent this passport or done something with them, I will just have to bend them myself. I got the strength of David next to Goliath, fam. I was punching everywhere, and because now at this point she wants to fight me. So we're now fighting, and we are,
now you're having a brawl with your stepmom.
We are squabbling now. At this point, she's down. I didn't realize that fat people were not that strong. She's now on the floor. I'm punching into those cushions and going, give me my passport, give me my passport. So my half sister, she comes into the house and she sees the brawl happening. And she goes, what's going on? What's going on? So she jumps in to save her mom. Obviously, she's fighting me and I'm fighting her. And at this point, my dad is literally not doing anything about this. He's so angry. He's mad. He's just looking in the drawers and whatever whilst we are getting on with it. And then, so at this point, you get tired of punching somebody because fights, look like they've been happening for 2 hours, but I think they've easily been
like 2 minutes. Apparently, 3 minutes in a street fight is a long time.
So now, my sister is asking, "What's going on?" And I said, "She won't give me my passport." And then my brother, my half brother, comes again and says, to my sister, so and so, that envelope that mom had. She gave it to me. Yeah, that envelope, the one that had sellotape, masking tape on it. That was white sellotape on it.
Gosh, she knew everything.
That's the one Sissy and Mama fighting over. It's at my house. And guess where her house was?
Where was her house?
Like Mfakos. And this is like where in Chitungwisa.
Why?
So I'm like, she says, mom gave them to me. He says they're important documents.
And she didn't say what it was or anything.
He said, did you open? So I didn't. So anyway, we go there. No word of a lie. We go, right? This is like 10 p.m. So my dad drives us in Gonyet because we didn't have a smoker. My dad took the wheels of Africa Gonyet. We were driving a whole Gonyet, so like an HGV to go to get my documents. We get there. She had come because she was having a fight with the husband. The husband didn't open the door.
Just for her to come home and you're beating up.
The husband wouldn't open the door. Please open the door. Bambiki can please tostora nyama ngwana ndukuja pane envelope yandiri kuda imom. Sister nyaite. My guru that no, I know, but it's not for today, right? So now, because she was in such a difficult marriage, because she used to live with the husband and the husband's sisters. So now they're coming back from God knows where. I think these girls were the ladies of the night. Are you not told to go to your house? They're now starting with my sister. I said, oh no, she is at her house, but we've come back because there's something I need that's in the house. I'm still scratched up and I'm really tired of fighting people. I just want my passports. no, she should go back and come China because we cannot be discussing this. I said, no, I just want
my passport.
An envelope that's with your brother. If you just open the door into your brother's house, my sister can just tell me where the things are. So this guy wouldn't open the door. And he's like, tell me where the what color the envelope is. So now look at how things go the way they're not supposed to go. Now she's saying, oh no, just open the door, I'll come and take it myself. He's going, no, I'm not opening the door for you. Tell me which shelf to look at what I'm looking for. Now they're going. My dad is trying to find where to put the gonyet. So we're there. I'm pleading with him. Please, this girl, please. She says, no, your sister should tell me because I don't want anyone in my house.
Yeah.
So now we go to the corner. My nigga, I need to go to go somewhere. Help me.
Help me.
Can you just say to us, no, where the envelope is? So if he goes there to look for the envelope, they've been always accusing me of using mbashto on him. So if now he goes looking for the envelope, he will see that there is this things I've put there. So I'm like,
how is this any of my business?
And I said, with all, let's call it Tina for this. I said, with all due respect, Tina, I understand the situation. You're trying to make your marriage work. You've gone and gotten Mbashto. I don't know why my passports are next to your Mbashto in your wardrobe where your husband is. And so I go back. I said, Bambiki, can you just let her in? And bear in mind, our family was so disjointed. So he didn't even know if I was actually the sister, like I'm saying I am. So he's refusing this guy. We've been pleading. Dad has been trying to pack this gonyet somewhere. He can't pack it. He's come back again. He's like, I'm like, no, Dad. He can't just leave his gonyet there. So he goes around with the gonyet again. Didn't Joshua and my groyan did one gonyetera? She can see, okay. She can see Tina pinda mumba wete say utore. So this guy utore where the things are. This is like after an hour of pleading with this guy. Now we're getting like into to the 2-3 a.m.s. And we still have got another journey going back. So she gets in, right? So he's there with the lamp. He really wants to see because he wants to see. And I don't know what abracadabra she did. So she takes the thing. So she says to me, so bear in mind we'd been squabbling. We'd actually literally had a punch up. So she comes. So she's
oh my God.
She's like, I said, what did you do? She said, I sneezed and pretended to fall a bit. So then he'd be like, are you okay? Then I just put the matombo back. I said, where did you put them back? You should have come back with it. What if he decides to start, organizing things and he sees that anyway?
He said, I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
So I get my envelope, check definitely the passports are in there. We drive back. I hadn't told your dad where I was at this point. I just said I was going to visit a few friends. This is now 4 a.m. So I'm now thinking, I was there. I fought with my stepmom, fought with my sister, ended up in a gonyet going to the focus to retrieve passports.
You sound like Tidla.
And I'm like, okay. So, and your dad wasn't nice about things like, especially if you're not very clear with where you're going. Because I'd said I was going, because I didn't want him to know that I'd had the passports in it.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to say.
You don't put him in your business.
I didn't want him to know my business. So now I'm like, to my dad, I was like, Dad, I can't go back home at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And I can't go back tomorrow at 6 a.m. by myself because they'll say, where have I been?
Yeah.
You have to take me home.
Yeah.
It was like, and I couldn't go and sleep at the house because this woman was still moving around like a charged bull. So I didn't want to get into round 2 with the wife fighting again. So I said, take me home. So we get into our gonyet. So he's driving me home we get there.
Oh my gosh.
The gate, Kumba, is bolted.
Gosh, they love a lot to get over there.
So I'm going, you don't want to be too loud as well because you don't want to wake up the whole neighborhood.
The whole neighborhood.
But dad's thing, when he was going into a lower gear, it used to go, like this. So yeah. So dad, we get to the gate. I'm sharing, and because obviously he can't park his going. He's going around again. What would it like no, dad, Brenda would want she might get there. So then when he does the third round, that's when your dad comes out and was like, where were you? I was like, I was at my dad's. So you couldn't just say you were at your dad's. I said, well, his years brought me because he can't come out of his gonyete. So he's going, Gwasha Murisi, Akarukumba Mskana, Irisi Mskanong, with the gonyete. So when my envelope at this point, I can't even open my envelope. I can't even say anything about my envelope. I just come in with my envelope. I can't even say why I was visiting my dad. I can't say why I've got scratches.
Why you're disheveled?
Why am I disheveled? Why are 7 of my buttons missing? Why did I live with a top that was all nice and ironed? Now it's now tied into like a goof out and part of my bra is showing. I was just like this day drained. So when so I get my passports, because I didn't want him to know that I had passports because I didn't trust the process enough to engage with it by an open dialogue of what I have or I do not have, so this was sense. And so you just in the morning I had all these scratches. It was like,
did he already have a passport?
You did.
Oh, yeah. It was just passports for me and you. Oh, okay.
And so in the morning, now we're seeing each other in full daylight. I've got scratches everywhere because I was like, what do you say? I was like, it's maize, just cut on me. I can't say I had 2 fights. Plus 1 diplomatic mission to rescue my passports, which were held hostage. Then, so that is the prequel to the situation where my ex-husband was going. You see, my issue with passport with airports. I've always
when we were coming to the UK from Ukraine, because he started doing that. When we go out there, please, okay.
Of my aunties was traveling, right? So again, this is the statute of limitation for this one is since passed. They are now happily married. But my aunt negated to tell me that this man that they were traveling with was somebody's husband, and this person was taking her on holiday on the wife's dime, and the wife found out and decided to chase the man to the airport. So we are there. My aunt is, dressed to the hilt. She's wearing her jeans. She's ready to fly. And we're sat by the, the departure lounge before you go into check-in, waiting for the man. The man is coming, running with his suitcases, and he's going. So he's going. So I said to my aunt is going. What's when you're the guilty party, but you do not know that you're the guilty party, or she knew. I don't think she did. Because if she did, she would have just. Because this woman is going, show me.
She wouldn't have been as shocked.
She probably, the shock factor was because there was the other thing that was the method of elimination would have, because there were not that many women. There was me who was there just wearing my slippers, taking my aunt. And there was my aunt who was dressed to travel in her jeans, a nice stiletto heels, and there was no other women. So it either was me who was in my flip flops or this woman.
Yeah.
Right? So this woman is going drag and then obviously the man didn't want to. So she's going, man, let's go home. This is my aunt. I said, why should we go? She said, it appears in Dini. What do you mean it appears in Dini? So now we're trying to walk out of the airport. This woman comes and grabs my aunt by a weave.
Was it a weave or a wig?
A wig.
I want to know whether we're flying or if it remained.
And she was still wearing heels because at this point, the other thing that I've learned, if you are with a borrowed man, right? And
a man that may or may not belong to you.
And if there's some woman claiming that they're the right owner and they seem to have the papers to say so, because this man looked like, he knew what was going on. He knew this woman and they had a very good understanding. So my aunt, instead of while she was sat down, what she should have done is she should have taken off her heels, because he knew we were going to run. Right? So I'm like, let's run. So we ran, and we are running, Mulife, we are running, and this woman just comes and grabs her. And at this point, so there's 2 hours check-in, right? So this woman punches up. My aunt is a G farm. She didn't even, flinch or anything. So we get up from there. She picks up a wig, as you do. And she had a little suitcase. So she takes off her top because it had a bit of blood. She wears a black t-shirt. And she says to me, let's go around for a bit, then come back, because she's not missing a good shoe.
I hear it still.
And they were both heroes like that. Because the man, after all this happened, I think went with the wife. I don't know where. It's like they this telepathic theft in them that they were going to fly that day, come rain, come thunder. So because she had been there like 3 hours before, and she knew that 2 hours is check-in, isn't it? Because they were doing a destination. They were actually flying out, like flying to the Europes. So my titi takes off her top, gets a black top. We go around.
She found her wig.
No, she had taken off the wig. She put it in a bag, and she was, she had a headscarf, and she just wore sunglasses. And then we went round and round, with my hours holding, because they were not my suitcase, so I'm holding this suitcase like a briefcase, and we go around. And we come back to the airport. So I was like, what if he doesn't come? He's the one with the tickets. And I was like, I know, yeah, don't worry. So we stand there, we wait. And true to form, my man came back.
No one called you, Rio.
So my man comes, right? Now in a different shade, in a little bit of a disguise and sunglasses.
I bet you didn't have a mustache and sunglasses though.
But he didn't have a mustache, he was just wearing sunglasses. My aunt no longer had the wig. But the people were, so now at this point, people are now actually coming. Because when this happened, there was not that many people at the airport. So, and I'm like, mama Turaisa. Not looking at my aunt. Don't worry, we'll be fine. So now they fly out, right? So because I used to live with my auntie at this point. So they come back with this borrowed man. So I went to meet my aunt back, and so I get there. Guess who's waiting with me? The owner of the man.
She's probably checked his emails or something.
Probably, I don't know. Or gone to the travel agent.
Yeah, women are very.
So she's there waiting. So I'm thinking, right, this is going to be round two at the airport as well. So I can see my aunt coming. So I'm going. So she's looking at me. She's looking, and I'm going. Like you've got a migraine. And so I think she says to the husband, "Your wife is here."
Yeah.
And I think so. And then I think that was the end of the marriage, because when they came out, my aunt went the other way, right? And she went like where there were the police, and so she got like the police escort, and this woman started being like proper a charged bull. This is this is. I think I've ended my perfume. It would have been tinted around. So so we went home, and then my this borrowed man came back again to see us. My aunt had cooked. Wow. And then now they are living happily ever after.
What, did they stay together?
They're still together. Man? They are still together.
Oh wow!
Man. And she borrowed him on a long term. It was a long term borrow.
What do they call it? What is it called? Lease to buy. Buy to lease.
Rent to buy.
Rent to buy. She had him on a rent to buy scheme.
And he's now all paid for. Yeah, so she's got the papers. And now because when my dad died, we're talking about it, because my dad's borrowed man was the head mkwashi at the funeral, and was doing the most. And I was like, hey, I'm so glad we fought for you. at the airport. So he took me to the airport after Dad died. He took me to the airport. It was like, I was like, oh, how things change. We could have been now looking with binoculars to see if there's anyone. Now, this time when we had this journey now I'm talking about, Coco says, Mom, you know when you get your papers, please don't do anything to them. But because where I come from, when you get paper, any document, for it to last, you laminate it. So I laminated my indefinite leave to
I don't know what possessed you to do that.
But the funny thing was, when I was leaving to go to the funeral, everything was fine. I didn't have any problems. I think they just saw that I was, and I even left with a passport that was almost expiring. So it expired when I was back home. So I get there, I do everything, I get my new passport. I'm about to come back. Our borrowed man is taking me to the airport. Me and airports. I get there. This man goes, you can't fly with this document. So I'm thinking it's a joke. I said, no, I can. He said, no, it's laminated. You're not supposed to laminate it. So you can't fly with it. I said, so what do I do? I said, you can go home. You can't fly. And that was the beginning of my nightmare. So I'm like, but I've left kids. I've got children. I said, oh no, you can't fly. So now, earlier on, as I was walking in, this man was mopping, right? So I stepped over his mop and he was like, I'm saying that I'm the same right? So now I'm coming back with my suitcase and this man is with this mop.
And those people at the Zim airport, they're so jarring. They hate to see people leaving the country. I'm not gonna lie.
And anywhere you meet a Zimbabwean who's working at the customs or whatever. So anyway, at this point, I'm not seeing the gravity of the situation that much. So I'm with my borrowed man. He says, oh, let's go to the embassy and see what they'll say. He drives me to the embassy. We go to the embassy, and because he was also going to fly, I think, in the days after, but he did try, and get this fixed. And when we went to the embassy, there was this man, Zimbabwean man. He was like,
I'm there.
makachinamireko chipepa chacho makachipiwa chakanamwa makachinamirei dai vaida kuti chinge chakanamwa handivaikupai chakanamwa ndikati saka can I travel manzi chiko airport ndikati ndanzizvoni I can't travel zvikanzika mudo ini ndiri kuairport here kana manzi ikoko hamutraveling nyangwe ndikakuudzai pana papa airport nyangwe ndikakuti ndapusa pai now I'm realizing the gravity of the situation. So that's when you start harnessing so bear in mind, she's the one who told me. And that time she was very young as well. I just said, she started, this is so sad. My mistakes, my stupidity. Now she's having to go to the MP to then talk to people to try and rescue free mom, free. So I eventually get intervention from the UK for me to fly.
And the thing is, they can check all of these things.
They didn't want to. And also their rationale was, if they flew me, they wasn't supposed to be flown in, they would be charged. They'll be fined. So now this chief immigration officer says, oh no, let her fly. And at this point now they know that I've left kids and these kids are getting worried. And this country and children welfare, top notch. I get to the airport, right? Now I'm in the airport. Now I'm in the UK airport. I get there. So this man is saying to me, where have you traveled from? Could I remember where I traveled from? I'm going, pardon. Where are you coming from? Sorry? Where have you traveled from? Oh, Addis Ababa. Before Addis Ababa, where were you? Sorry? The exhaustion from those 2 weeks I'd had trying to sort myself. You guys calling me saying, Mom, this is what we've done. Mom, this is what. I lost my speech, my ability to remember things. And I was so scared because when I got to Addis, because they'd said to me, this letter only covers my travel from Harare to Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa might decide that I can't fly. Because if your immigration officer, because now, they're just being rude, because why can't you just forward this same email to Addis Ababa so that they know that I'm coming? then they were like, then it was you who said, ma'am, let me call them to that chief immigration officer to send the same email to Addis Ababa. Because at this point, I didn't even want to fly because I didn't want to get to Addis Ababa and then be told you're going home. So we get there. I think because of time differences and something, the email was not there. So when people were starting to check in, I was not allowed to check in. They would be just saying, no, you sit it down. You sit it down. No, sit down. And they don't speak English like that. And because they had all my documentation. And I was like, where am I sitting? We're not sure you're supposed to fly. I'm like, oh, here we go again. So right just before the gates close, I hear somebody calling my name in the tunnel. But you think you're hearing it, but you think you're not hearing it. So they come to me while I was sitting and said, you can go. I said, you still have got my passport. They said, it's been given, you get it. I said, no, give it to me. Because I'm thinking now, if I get to the UK with no passport, now I'm trying to tell them a tall tale that. So anyway, they didn't give it to me.
Yeah.
They didn't give me the passport. So I get into this plane, right? So now the whole flight, I'm thinking I don't have my documentation with me. I'm going to Heathrow, where it's even worse than anywhere else. I'm going to get there. What will they say? So now I get off the plane. I still don't I don't even know who's got these things. So I'm thinking, yeah, here we go. So I'm now so confused. So now this woman comes, some immigration person says, go to that next. I said, but I said, no, go to that gate. So I get there. So when they're asking me, I'm still thinking, why are they even asking me that? Because they don't even have my passport. I don't have my passport. So I'm having this whole internal conversation that I'm not hearing what he's saying, because I'm thinking, but he's asking me, but what is he asking me from? So when he said, I've got your documentation, I've been given it by the onboard crew, that's why we've called you here. Where are you coming from? Then I said, oh, Harare. Right. Tell me why. I've had all these problems. You'd think I still wouldn't pack crazy things. I had mazo. I don't know what I had. Now the dogs are sniffing me. Now I'm called into I just don't like an easy life. I had tsunga. So apparently not tsunga, fresh tsunga.
Yeah.
It smells like like wakibaki. So the dogs can smell it. So it wasn't some
house cabbage.
Yeah. So I'm now called to the side. I'm like, do I even learn? So I open this mazo, my crisps and whatever. And so, did you pack the suitcase yourself? I said, yes, I did. So, do you have anything apart from that what we are seeing now? I said, no. Do you have anything on yourself? No. And so, you'll be just dejected. I was like, now I'm going back for after all these things that people have been doing. So they're like, oh, so then they said, oh, is this? One of the guys who was Nigerian was like, this is what the dog sniffed. Was it when did they pluck it for you? I said, well, yesterday. I said, oh, okay, we are confiscating this. I said, that's fine. Do whatever, if you want the whole suitcase, love, you can have it. I just want to go home.
Oh my God.
That's my stories with airports, guys. I can just write a whole, some I've left because they're too embarrassing. So guys, do you have any interesting airport stories? I'm getting better with it. So the last time I've traveled, I've not had any mishaps.
Yeah.
I've not. Oh no, the last time I traveled, I left my passport on the other side of the terminal. And
she's got 2 other ones that she hasn't shared with you. Maybe when she's reflected on it, she might share it.
No, the other one is, I can share the other one of the two. The COVID one.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking.
So basically, guys, what transpired? No, I know why she's saying that. During COVID time, I had to travel. I'd already bought my tickets. It was business. I had to go. Everything was hindering on me. So the day before, I was burning a fever. And she was like, Mom, I think you've got COVID. I said, no, I don't. I'm fine. So I wake up in the morning, I go to the airport, as you do. I buy, you had to do the lateral.
You had to do the
peak
lateral
flow,
test.
the peak flow, and whatever. Those things that we used to do then.
I did. Think so. Such a stupid.
I know. I did that, and I was negative. Fine, but at this point, even when they told me I was negative, in my head I was going.
She was so sick.
I could hear them going, "You're negative." I was so unwell. I get onto my plane. I get into France. I call her. At this point, my voice is gone. I'm congested.
You're like, Mom, you don't sound. No, I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm good. I get onto my plane. I'm self-medicating with alcohol just to make sure that I make it. When you're starting feeling cold, that you want to borrow everybody's blankets, and I was so unwell. I get to Zim, right? When I get to Zimbabwe, that's when, I knew I was unwell. Now I go to the airport and I was just dribbling. And it was during COVID time, by the way. I get through. At this time, I knew if they tested me, I would test positive for... So Zimbabwe, that time, not on. So this man could see that, through my mask, that my eyes were bloody red, and I said to him,
"Oh, did they used to test on entry as well?"
Yeah, they used to test, but they used to
how would you have gotten COVID?
No, they used to do the
your temperature with that thing that doesn't even work. That was so stupid.
So I go to him, and my temperature was like 40, and I was like,
You'd wiped out the whole of Zimbabwe. What would you have said?
So I get there, because the following day I was traveling to South Africa as well. So I get there, I drank Bronco, everything that you can get off the market. I went to Mbari, where the jasmines are. I took everything that they were selling. Because I was traveling 2 days. In 2 days' time, I was going to be in South Africa. So I did that. Went to sleep for like the whole 48 hours, tried to sleep this disease off. I wake up, I feel worse for wear at this point. So I said, you know what, guys, let's travel over the weekend, because I hadn't bought the tickets yet. We just wanted to be in South Africa and get things ready. So I said, I can't travel now. I'm not well. So I get some more Bronco to sleep and, just try and get myself to that point. So I get to that point, but I'm still very unwell. I travel to South Africa. I get to South Africa. We do the whole tour, because I was going to do the tour. Then the crew would come back to Zim, and I would fly to the UK. So now these people would do proper the PC something tests.
Oh, the ones with the swabs, and then they'd go to the.
So because
they had labs at the airport at one point. Yeah.
So now, right? So at this point, I'd been spending so much time with the band and everybody. So the whole crew had COVID. So because everyone tested positive for COVID, except for Brave, the one who's had COVID. So now I'm thinking, I have to fly back. My plane is due tonight.
Yeah.
So the same people, the ones who do the test in the lab, they said they've got this place in.
These are the same people doing the test, by the way.
So they said,
"Welcome to Africa."
Yeah, they said there's this place they can show us that there's this guy who can get me a negative test, but for me to fly, and I'll see what I'll do. So that's when they said there was the South African strain. Remember?
Yes.
So at this point, because Coca said, "Mom, because of COVID, there's not much going on. You can cancel this whole tour. Wait until things have calmed down, then you can go on your tour." And that tour was very successful, but it could have been better because it was during COVID and people were not really coming out, but people did come out. That's where we were being the super spreaders of things. So anyway, I get my results and they're negative. So I fly, get to Heathrow. Where are you coming from? South Africa. Quarantine.
Do you guys remember quarantine hotels?
So I went to quarantine.
To get abducted to a quarantine hotel.
Quarantine.
I'm looking at the watch. Where's Mom?
I'm like, hello. Where are you? I'm going to the quarantine hotel.
I don't know about all of this ordeal about what you're going up to in South Africa. Then you keep clean. What you abducted.
I didn't. No, some of the things I didn't tell her because she's very judgy, especially if she's.
I am not judgmental.
No, especially if she's. You can tell it in a tone. She go, yeah. And No, you just feel like because with my travel stories, I'm like the teenager because she never travels like that. She never does anything crazy. My stories when I travel, they're like, yeah. So I was like, oh, now I'm on the plane, Coco. I'm getting to South Africa. Oh, Mom, let me know when you land. So I get to Heathrow, Birmingham Airport, and they say to me, quarantine. So I'm put on the quarantine bus with my other quarantine friends. We go into the quarantine hotel. So when you get into the quarantine hotel, you're not allowed to leave your room. There was this person who would be sitting outside.
Oh my God, do you know what a weird time? How is that normal?
So they'll be sat outside, right, of the, and they'll make you pay for the quarantine hotel. It was like 190 something for the whole stay. So anyway, so I'm taken straight from the airport right to quarantine, right? And you can't go out to buy food or order food or whatever when you're in the quarantine hotel. They say they open the door and they slide the sandwiches. Oh God! So I'm there.
And the sandwiches are manky, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm there for the first night. I'm there the second night, and then they say COVID is over. Those are in quarantine hotels.
But then no, they said COVID was over, but then they didn't want to free you, and then you escaped. Do you remember?
No, wait, no. So sorry. So what happened was because we were coming from the South African strain, right? But the news, and on the news, it had been announced that there was no more quarantine hotels people can go. So, but this guy was still sat on my door and saying that they've not been told any directive to let anyone go.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, that's fine. So I packed my stuff, right? Because what is he going to do? Tackle me? So I said, so anyway, so I said, I started leaving. I said, Mom, you can't leave. I said, you know that I've got COVID, right? So if I cough on you, get it. So I don't want to do that to you. So can I leave? So he said, oh, I'll call the police. So I said, that's fine, call the police. So I leave. My Uber is waiting outside. I get into my Uber. So I say to Coco, they've called the police, but I've escaped. Mom, so you're now on the run. So now I'm saying this, I'm in the Uber. So this man is going, where did you escape from? I said, no, it's nothing. He said, did you escape? I said, no. You drive. This guy, it was a Bolt taxi, a Bolt person. I'd never forget. I had gotten a Bolt because Ubers were not taking people from quarantine hotels.
Yeah.
So this is where were you? I said,
don't worry about me.
Where did I pick you up from? Because he was listening. I said, why were you eavesdropping into my conversation? It was just a hotel. He says, was that a quarantine? So he takes me back to the quarantine hotel. So this man is waiting outside saying he's called the police. But I called another Bolt, but this time I took it from the other side and I stopped talking in the car and I was just texting you because I didn't want to be returned back to this quarantine hotel. So I get home and I said, I'm never going to travel again. You just seen how happy I was to get home. With
I told you so, yeah. If I could frame it and put it,
because you're like, Mom, and and even everybody apart from me, even the guys back home were like, we let's cancel this tour and let's do it. And I was like, no, we're doing it. I've already bought tickets. I'm coming. Mom, you can cancel this. You can get your refund because of COVID. People are canceling and they're getting their. I said, no, I'm going.
Oh my days.
No one's going to stop me. I'm going there. Then came back with COVID, quarantine, plus the threat of the police.
Oh my gosh.
So that's my airport episode. Hope you enjoyed. Guys, it's free to subscribe,
It's free. It costs a thing.
It's free to comment. It's free to like. It's free to share. Share these things. Let's get people. Let's build this community. It's a lovely community. I see your comments every day.
And they play nicely with each other.
Yeah. And you keep
apart that time when Mom was saying that women should date, they got your ass.
It wasn't even my community. It went outside the community. It went outside the community, and the people outside the community who don't know. When I saw Mom was doing celebs, I didn't even tell her. I was like, let me give it to myself, but it made it anyways. So when it made it to Zim Celebs, right? When it made because I'm not on social media like that, and she's on social media. If she sees things that she knows that will disturb me, she doesn't normally tell me. So I'm coming from work that particular day when when my face made it to Zim Celebs because I had said women need to date more. A little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. Dated. It made it to Zim Celebs. And now the men, Shaddai's disciples were coming for me with pitchforks. So this guy, and he's a bit weird as well. He's my friend, but he's weird. He's into all these,
drama.
Not drama, into all this red pill nonsense.
Oh yeah.
So I knew that you would be the first one to bring that to my attention. So he just sent it to me without any context. So I just put question marks. It was like, oh, I saw it on Zim Celebs. I said, and yeah, I said it, and. So I'm just showing you. I'm the one who said, when people take something that you said today in my living room as I am speaking, why are you taking that snippet and bringing it back to me? I said it. It's me. It's my likeness. It's my voice.
Dini.
Din Ongwati. Yeah, but I made it to Zim Celebs, guys. So, liking, commenting, and sharing is okay. But please make sure that it stays within the parameters of where it's safe. Because when it makes it to some of these places, they lit me up.
But mom doesn't care anyway.
No, I don't care. The thing is, when people in comment sections, some of the people were in comment sections will be back again on this platform kicking as well. True. So I'm not bothered because the internet is not a real place.
No.
Now, if you've got a real problem with me, let's debate. Face me, face them, and then we can call each other names, which you never will anyway. But I know that people get very trigger happy when they're behind their cameras and whatever. That's why I'm always saying let's build physical communities, because these virtual communities, people are so mean for no apparent reason. Things that they can never say to you face to face, they would have the Muna. Because I saw somebody saying Uyigaro, and I'm just imagining a whole me equating to a bum.
Oh my days! Oh, thank you guys. See you on the next episode.
See you on the next episode.